first round of the year let's have a look. So we're just doing qualifying at the moment. The weather's looking quite bright. We're in the Nismos for this session. Second is Tepos for the green team, DDK in yellow. We've got Alex for white team, Owen in red. He's just changed the tyres at the moment, going for a brand new set of softs. There's not long, we're only halfway through the session, so obviously trying to get as many laps on a new set as we can. We've got River in 7th for the white team as well, Pyro for the white team. Only 1.3 seconds off the lead, so not too bad at all. But CMP has been in the session, as you can see. He's done 2 laps so far, both of them very low, very consistent times. Whereas Tepos, his first lap wasn't so great. Let's see, yeah, again, same with DDK. It is really CMP that is running away with this qualifying session, and that consistency will definitely prove him well in the sprint race. You'll enjoy that. Slimmy's come up to 4th now, running to the time, so we're 28.5 on the lead. Alex down 5th, looks time. Tepos has just gone fastest actually. Let's just have a look at the end of Alex's lap. Personal best, but not good enough to go up any higher. He's got another 3 tenths to find before he can get another position. Let's just have a look at Tepos. So he's gone into the 28.2s as well, less than a tenth between him and CMP. CMP is in the pits though, so obviously with 3.5 minutes to go, he reckons he can get some more lap time, some fresh rubber. I wonder if Tepos is going to come on at some point to we've got a penalty on this lap, so actually there's CMP on his way out of the pits. DDK still in 3rd after his improved J, but over a tenth to make up if he does want to move up the order. CMP's just got a fresh set of rubber, he'll be out shortly. Owen yet to go faster. Actually, this is his first fast lap, so we'll see how it goes. So I can change the volume settings. better. Let's go back in. Is the volume a lot better now? Final laps now. CMP's just started a lap, but he's got a big advantage down to Tepos, 6/10 being the gap. Tepos is in second, although DDK is very close behind him, only 3/10. Although this lap might not be too much better if you look at the tyre wear on his front left. DDK's just bottled the lap, so he won't be going any faster. Not a big gap between him and Slimmy either. And Slimmy is on very brand new rubber, so we will see if he can go any faster. Although he's got his penalty, so I doubt that's going to happen. What about Owen? Owen's got great rubber and he looks very good at the moment, so we'll see. Ribber's just gone faster. There we go, not a big difference between him and Owen there, so Owen doesn't have to do a lot to move up. Neither does Mooshlock actually either, he's got a very slim margin, but Alex is 5/10 down, Rubber's okay, I don't know what's happened on this lap for him, so it could be a good lap for him, whereas, there we go, Owen tops the times, Owen has topped the times. Alex doesn't move up, Pyro on his last lap, looking at fresh rubber, see what he is able to do, and he goes not too much better, although it's an improvement on the lap time by 3/10. There we go, and I think that is the end of qualifying for everybody. Okay, so after qualifying, we've got Owen, CMP, Mooshlock, Tepos, who was very good, although just maybe didn't have that last push that everybody else had. Yeah, didn't quite have the last few tenths that other people did. I'll just turn down the volume. So let's hope that worked. Right, okay, yeah, so Owen, CMP, Mooshlock, Tepos, he was very consistent but didn't quite have the last lap. DDK, then Slimmy, Reba, Alex, Pyro in 9th, Claus in 10th, and Moosekin in 11th. So, hard to say how this is going to play out really. You've got the red team with only one driver but on pole. You've got blue second and the other two down at the bottom end of the order. Yellow and green right in the mix, and white with the strongest number of cars joint with blue but towards the back of the grid. So we'll see how that plays out for them. Okay, right, so the race has started. Owen Williams has made the initial breakaway from CMP. Mooshlock in 3rd. And Tepos still in 4th. Slippy Cam, there's not a lot happening to change the order at the moment when the DDK has dropped down. Alex is close behind him. At the moment, forming a bit of a train at the moment. further down the order. Pyro and Teta, he's gone down a place, losing out to Claws on the blue, who's attacking at the moment. He's making a move for the inside. He's going to make it. Is it clean? It looks like he's overshot it. There we go. That's not what he wanted to happen today. So Alex survives and puts the pressure onto DDK. So there is a massive train for me, but with the top 7, difficult for them to get too close enough to one another. Let's have a look further up the order. There we go. So we've got the front 2 are very close together. CMP and Owen are pulling away. They've got about a second gap to Michelot at the moment, who's being closely followed by Tepos, and then they've got a gap back to Slivicam and DDK. I wonder if at some point during this race we will see any team tactics being played out. But at the moment, there isn't really a lot of team tactics that can be played. We've got the red and the blue with a clear lead, yellow, green, 3rd and 4th, and then maybe if Slimy catches up to Tepos, there could be some sort of working together for the greater good of the team. But I can't see that happening at this point. There could be some working together from the white team, as they are all joined together. Let's have a look at that. No, it looks like Alex has just gone up the inside of Pyro, making a precarious move, but he has got it done, and it has been done cleanly. But Pyro's coming straight back at him, down the inside into the left corner. Not quite close enough, maybe. Oh, he's got it sideways, and he's safely through. There we go. No harm, no foul. But not great for them. Pyro with the penalty, so that's definitely going to impact his ability to put the pressure on Alex. Back up at the front of the field, we've still got Owen and CMP doing a bunny hop. That was pretty cool. Oh no, we've got Michelot with the penalty. That is not going to be helpful. That is not going to help them at all. That's the net loss of that is going to be quite a lot, because he's slowing down on the long straight. There's 3 or 4 seconds he might lose there. That is not going to help him at all. That is going to create a big gap between him and Tepos as well. He's going to have to work very, very hard to bridge that gap again once he serves that penalty in 3, 2, 1. And is that going to put him into Slimmy Cam and DDK's grasp? I think it will. I don't think he's going to. Yeah, there we go. Slimmy Cam through, and DDK just behind him. Maybe now the yellow team will start working together to push on. I don't know if they've discussed their team tactics and whether they'll attack each other or not. Possibly not. We'll see how the race unfolds. Still, Owen leads CMP by just under a second. Very, very consistent gap. CMP with the fastest lap at the moment though, so obviously he is trying to put the pressure on, although 1.2 seconds a lap slower this lap compared to last. Not what he would have wanted. Tepos just over 1 second behind, again similar sort of gap, not really being able to put much pressure on him, although perhaps without having the competition around him, maybe this will let him branch out a bit, let him go a bit further on. Slimmy Cam with a penalty, that's not going to be helpful at all for him. And we'll see him possibly lose position to DDK. It might be a job for DDK under the brakes. And we've got Ribber not too far behind DDK. Now, let's see, there we go, DDK is through. Is Ribber close enough? Not quite close enough to go past. Oh, Slimmy Cam's back through onto the gravel. I'm not sure about that. That's quite an aggressive defence, pushing him all the way over to the gravel. I think he was in front, but I'm not sure how the stewards will react to that one. But that has brought Ribber right up to the back of Slimmy. Right on board here with Ribber. See how close it gets. I mean, it is a 6/10 gap to Slimmy. It's not massively close, and it does look like Slimmy's pulling that gap a bit further out. Got the field again. Same story at the front. Owen in the lead. CMP less than a second behind. Tepos over a second behind. Not quite being able to hold with the boys at the front's pace. They are going a bit too fast for him, but Owen is in control of this race at the moment and will probably continue to do so. Tepos just about to break into 2 seconds behind now. Here we go. Ribber hasn't been able to lower the gap to Slimmy. Hasn't necessarily got too much bigger, but he's not being able to put that pressure onto Slimmy that he'd like to. If you look down the order, go to the back, have a look at Pyro. He's just over 1.5 seconds behind Michelot, and OG Moosking quite very close behind him, going a bit deep on the brakes there for Pyro, which is not what he wanted to happen. Moosking trying to put pressure on, but just a bit too far back to be able to do so. Same story at the front. Oh, Tepos has dropped now to 2 seconds, although could have seen them coming, and that is a new fastest lap for CMP, getting first driver into the 27s and closing in ever so slightly on Owen. Very similar tyre wear for the pair. Neither of them have got that much to separate them, other than the 0.8 or so on circuit. Tepos is again on a very similar tyre wear to the leading pair, but just can't seem to bridge that gap to them, losing over 0.8 on that lap to CMP. So got a penalty further back actually. Ribber going for the move around the outside of Slimmy. Oh, is he going to make it stick? He's left plenty of room. He's gone deep on the brakes, but he's got the inside for the second part, and he manages to get the move done. Very, very clean drive, very, very clean move from Ribber to get past Slimmy. And Slimmy's not going to be able to come back down the next straight. He's too far back to make a move happen. Alex past DDK. Very small gap between the two. DDK looking at a move there, but not quite close enough to make it happen. And then further down the order, we've still got Michelot in 8th and Pyro in 9th, Moose King in 10th, and Claus struggling a bit further behind. When I say a bit further, I mean 7.5 seconds, but his pace is not too bad at all. Now, I think he's just been making a few too many mistakes. Further up the order we go. Ribber and Slimmy are still going at it with one another. Less than half a second between the pair at the moment. This will give Slimmy the advantage going down the straight. There is a massive toe to be gained down this straight on this circuit. Question is Ribber going to give him the inside or the outside, and is he going to defend it very hard at all? It looks like Slimmy has got the inside for the chicane. Ribber's not really defending at this point. They go onto the brakes at the same time together, match through the brakes, and Ribber going deep, not really being able to do much about that attack from Slimmy, but is staying, within distance of him. So that is not too bad, but not what he was hoping for. Definitely wanted that position, and won't be happy with that. So I can see an attack coming, probably in the exact same place next lap, and we'll have a game of ping pong to see who can get it done on the final lap. very similar story at the front here, although these boys at the front have pulled quite the gap on Tepos, whose pace has dropped off. I wonder if he had a penalty last lap round actually, because his pace has been fairly consistent, but that 32 is not what we've been used to from Tepos. Front two split by 3/10. I wonder if CMP will go for a move, or if he's purposefully sitting in behind Owen, letting Owen hold on to the lead for the time being, so that he can make an attack on the last lap. Yeah, still staying very close. Oh, Owen made a mistake on the exit, and CMP is through. First time somebody else will lead other than Owen as we go on to lap 9. There we go, finally, although Owen's got the toe, he's going for a move on the inside. He's not quite close enough, or thought better of it perhaps, and pulls out of the move as they go up the hill towards this horrible little complex. 7/10 between them. And again, they're both very similar on tyre wear at this point in the race, so I can't see there being much more development in this for these two until later. I think Owen is going to leave it until the last lap. I think he's going to sit in that place until the last lap and then mount an attack on CMP. Ribber getting a 1 second penalty, so now he's over a second behind Slimmy with that penalty. I can't see him getting 4th place back. It looks like Tepos is very comfy in 3rd place. He's got a big margin in front, so he shouldn't really be pushing to get that lead, but he's got a comfy margin of 4 seconds behind him to Slimmy as Ribber takes his penalty. So he won't be under too much pressure. He's just got to not make a mistake from here on out. Yeah, and Ribber is gapped up to 3 seconds now. Looking a bit further back, so we've got Alex and DDK still going at it with one another. Alex going a little bit deep there. Does that mean DDK can get the undercut on the exit? Yes, he's got his nose alongside. No, not quite. He's not got his nose alongside, but he is going to have the toe down the pit straight. And let's see if he can mount an attack onto Alex. He's pulling out for it, and he's on the brakes. He's going a bit later than Alex. He's got himself up the inside, and there we go. Nicely done from DDK to hold on to that place. CMP, wow, pulling out a gap on Owen. This is not what Owen wanted to happen. Owen would have been hoping to be able to stay in that towing gap. CMP on the very used tyres, managing to do some much better lap time, showing that he's got a lot more pace on the used rubber than Owen as they come downhill into the final chicane for lap 10. Are they going to make it before the clock runs out? Yes, I think they will, with about 10 seconds to spare to make it an 11 lap race. There we go, yeah, across the line with 8 seconds to spare and a 1.5 second gap back to Owen. We've got Slimmy coming down the hill now to come across the line in 3rd place, and that's where he'll finish. Tepos 4th, Ribber in 5th, Alex in 6th, DDK 7th, Pyro in 8th, Claus in 9th, Bushlot 10th, and Goose King in 11th. So let's really focus on the top 2 now. 1.5 second gap, not a lot has changed there. CMP being able to maintain the lead over Owen. Owen not really having a comeback in the latter stage of this race to CMP's pace. Owen's pace dropping off slightly into the 29s, whereas CMP's managed to hold it in the 28s, dipping into the 27th for lap 5, and has overall had the better of Owen completely, and Owen would have been hoping that he could have mounted an attack into this chicane had he not lost touch with the back of CMP, but that is not what's happened for him, I'm afraid. And here we go, CMP across the line to take the first win of the season for the blue team, with Owen crossing the line for the red team in second place. There we go. Race done for the first sprint race of the Spec-Series completed. Not quite what Owen would have been hoping for, but all credit to CMP for that very, very strong win there. Owen had very good pace. CMP had even better pace. I'm not sure what his last lap time was in the end, but managing to keep it in the 28s for most of that, and the 27 is a very, very strong result for him. So now we're just waiting for the feature race to get started up. So yeah, as we spoke about it a little bit, there wasn't very much team dynamics being played. No, not much team play. I guess we'll see that a bit more at Daytona, perhaps next week, when there is the advantage of tow and slipstreaming and the like, and therefore you may see some trains of different coloured Amus Nismos forming as all the teams try and work together against one another. But yeah, very, very strong race from CMP, and flawless pace. Couldn't really be touched. Owen did have the measure of him for the first part, but CMP had it from that point onwards, from the point where he got past, making a very nice move on the inside at the chicane. For those in the chat, is the sound a lot better now? So it looks like we have got some split strategies going on here. Some on the medium and some on the softs, with the Aero going out on track. Well, we haven't got everybody entered at the moment. I wonder if some people will changing back from the soft to the medium, as I think normally the medium is the better tyre to start on. There we go, just waiting on 3 more drivers now. we go, Tepos starting on the soft, as is Slimmy. I wonder if that's a conscious decision by the green team. I wonder if they've orchestrated that between themselves, and I wonder if they've worked on a strategy together and found a strategy that works better starting on the softs. Tepos also driving a very strong race in the sprint, not quite able to keep with pace that Owen and CMP had, but still nevertheless still a very strong race by him, and that penalty later on in the race not helping him out in that respect, but he was a bit too far back to be able to Slimmy back onto the medium. So maybe I'm chatting a load of nonsense with the green team having a special strategy that they'd worked out together. There we go, we've got all 11 cars in, so I assume that we will be starting relatively shortly. Someone just put a quick comment in about the sound. If you can hear me at the start when the race starts, if you could let me know if there's a problem with the sound or not. Here we go then, we've got Alex starting on pole, Moose King behind him, Mooshalot in third, Claus. We've got a reverse grid essentially for the rolling start all the way down to CMP after his win, starting in last and 11th, going just in front of him. But let's have a look at the front, see how it develops. I'm not sure what's happened here, something might be going wrong with the lobby. Saying there we go. Okay, right, so we've got Mooshalot in the lead now, just taking the place of Claus. Although getting it all wrong and dropping right down. We've got Claus taking back the lead, Pyro in second, DDK in third. He had a lot of pace in qualifying, so I wonder if he'll make it to the front a little bit quicker. Tepos already up to 6th place, so that's going to go well for him. Alex with penalty already, he's not going to appreciate that, especially when it's so bunched up. It's very difficult to hold your place, and I don't think he will down the straight. He might lose 3 or 4 places actually, with River, his teammate, actually knocking him a little bit wide as they go down the back straight, and he prepares to serve his penalty. River alongside him, and Tepos will go through as well, as we have Claus battling DDK and Pyro for the lead as they go nearly through a vest. Pyro's gone very deep in the brakes, but has got it turned into the apex and will take the lead off of Claus. And DDK looking to get a switch back, and he does so. There we go, on to the second lap, and DDK is in second with Pyro in the lead. Further back, Tepos into fourth now, Ribber up to fifth, CMP with his amazing pace in sixth place, and Alex just behind him, followed by Owen. So Owen will be trying to hold on to CMP for as much as he can, and won't appreciate having Alex in between him for the time being. Up at the front, we have got DDK all over the back of Pyro, and I wonder after the S's here if he will make a move up the inside. He's got the toe going down the straight here, very, very close up behind him. He pulls out to make the move. Is he going to have the braking done? Yes, he does. He's alongside him going into the next part. If Tipos is going to follow him through, I think he's trying to. Pyro gets left out hung to dry, and Tipos goes through from first to third. That is definitely not what Pyro would have wanted. His claws now also with the toe after Pyro got the bad exit when he was pushed out to dry. And this is not going to be what Pyro wants, with claws all over the back of him. But he's not really defending, nor his claws going for the move. Pyro trying to make a lunge on Tipos there, pushing him into the gravel a little bit. That's not what either of those drivers would have wanted, especially now with CMP so close behind as he goes up to fifth place. All this is getting a little bit messy. Tipos 3 abreast now going into the first corner. Who is going to back out here? That's the question. 4 abreast nearly, with River trying to get alongside. CMP up to third. DDK in the lead, Tipos in second. The CMP will now try and hunt down Tipos, but he'll be very pleased that Alex is Owen is all the way down in 8th, behind Alex, and not being able to stretch his legs like CMP will be able to now, with a one second gap in front. Will be trying to move forward with who's that all over the grass? Who was that? Was that Pyro losing out to both of his white teammates? That's not a good lap. In the last lap, he's gone from first to 7th, with Owen with a penalty and knocking Slimmy a little bit. This is not a good race for Owen, or not a good start anyway. Obviously there's a long way to go, so anything can happen, but with CMP nearly 4 or 5 seconds up the road from him, it's going to give him quite a job to do in the middle part, in the middle stint, and finally when they switch over onto the soft tyres. And with that, with Tepos taking the lead off of DDK, getting his nose in for the double right-hander before they go into the pit straight, and that's Tipos with the fastest lap for 21 wide, a very good time on. He's on the soft tyres actually, as opposed to some of the other guys, most of the other guys that are on the mediums. So CMP obviously showing that the medium's a little bit slow. He's 30.4 there. Ribber 2 seconds back from CMP, so not quite hanging on to him like he perhaps would like to, but is making a bit of a gap to claws, but just behind them there is some fierce fighting going on as Alex, Pyro, Owen, and who's that in for blue? And the Moose King fights it out, going 3 abreast into the corner. Oh, and there's a bit of contact between Pyro and Owen there. Owen makes it through unharmed, with Slimmy and Pyro both with a penalty. So Owen will appreciate the fact that he has now got a bit of breathing space down this back and can sort of focus on moving forward rather than on the cars behind him and potentially having to defend. With a 1 second gap between him and Alex. At the front we have got Tipos, who is building his gap to DDK, over 1.5 seconds now, who's got CMP behind him. DDK is also on the mediums, as is CMP. CMP's mediums slightly more worn than DDK's, and those are some excellent times from both Tipos and from CMP though. You've got to remember CMP is on the mediums, so it's saying a 28.4, but also Tipos is the fastest lap, so not quite sure what's going on there, but nevertheless, oh sorry, so 30.4, okay, so that's still a very good time, but he is losing out to the pair in front of him, and DDK looks like he has got the measure of CMP for the moment. River with a penalty and a 1.8 second gap to Claus behind him, so he might have to do a bit of defending into the final chicane, because that is not quite enough breathing space. It's about double the penalty of time that you actually do lose. Obviously that's not an exact science, so we'll have to see as they go down into the chicane. Claus will be seeing him serve as a penalty with the light as he closes up to the back of him, going right, and he's getting closer as they come to the braking zone. Not close enough. River is able to hold on to fourth for the time being, but he will not be happy that Claus has managed to close up so much as he goes a little bit wide, but doesn't lose too much time as a result of that. Owen is now all over the back of Alex, the 3/10 gap between the pair as they come across the line and head towards the first corner. Looking for the move, not quite able to make it, although Alex goes a little bit wide, so Owen's going to try and pull alongside him going up the hill. Is he going to be able to do anything on the brakes? Not really, he's not quite close enough as they flick right. And then if we move back up the order to River, he has actually got a over 1 second gap to Claus, so he won't be feeling too much pressure from him at this point in time. Tipos is still in the lead with a 3.5 second gap back to DDK, who won't be too worried about that because he is on the medium tyre compared to Tipos is soft, and CMP isn't really closing in on DDK perhaps as much as we'd expect after seeing how ferocious the pace that CMP has in the sprint. And River obviously still in fourth, as we just spoke about, with his 1.6 second gap to Claus. Owen is now ahead of Alex with nearly a second gap, so he will be focusing solely on catching up to the back of Claus. It's just remember there's a 15.3 second gap to the lead in comparison to CMP's 5.8, so that is a significant gap between the two, of just over, let's call it 9 seconds at the moment. There's a 9-second gap between CMP and Owen, and we'll check on that gap in a little while to see how they are progressing. Further down the order, let's have a look at what Slimmy's doing at the moment. He's got a 1.5 second gap back to Pyro, who is still going faster and faster on his mediums. He's obviously not at the start that he wanted to have, but perhaps with a bit of breathing space is sort of getting back onto the pace he wants, going 6.5 tenths faster than he did last lap, so this could be a 1:30 for him, which would be the sort of pace that he's after. With Moose King down in 10th. We lost somebody. I think we've lost somebody at some point during this race. Who have we lost? Right, okay. We've got 3 greens, 3 blues. Not sure who we've lost. But anyway, Owen on the back of Claus now, making a nice move. Is he going to be able to get his nose in front for the final corner? Not quite. He's going to have to hold off for the straight, although Claus getting a slightly better run as they go down the straight. Looking for the inside, but it's not quite there for him, and he's going to have to wait a little while longer to get the move done on Claus, because he's just not quite close enough at the moment to be able to get that move done. Closing up though through the S's. Mouchelot disconnected, thank you very much. That's unfortunate for him. As we were saying, he had a lot of pace in qualifying, so he could have done moved forward. But anyway, as we move on, we've still got Owen all over the back of Claus. Not really being able to get a move done though. Although Claus goes a little bit wide, he's going to make him a lunge. Yes, he is. It's very tight there, very, very tight. Oh, he's getting sideways, and that's not what Owen wanted. He'd have wanted to be able to get the toe. Instead, matey Alex has been able to get past Owen, and Owen's just made his own life just a little bit harder. As we check on CMP, there's about a 9-second gap between CMP and Tepos, and if we look, so the gap has increased between Owen and CMP, which is obviously not what Owen would have been hoping for, as Tepos carries on with his strong pace out front, only just going into the 29, so that is a very, very strong start for him, and definitely he'll be looking to keep extending his pace advantage out on the rest of the field. As we're on lap 9 and just over a quarter of the way through this race, but probably coming to the end of Tepos' stint on these soft tyres, whereas everybody else on the mediums will be thinking we're about halfway through, although that is not good for DDK's tyre wear if he's planning on stopping this race. 13 minutes through and over half his tyre wear, over half his tyre worn down. Definitely won't be what he was planning for. Owen has got back past Claus, but he's still fighting with Alex. Again, not what he wanted to do. He's trying to get around the outside, but he's just not quite got the space nor speed for the second part of the chicane as they go down the hill now, for the final corner to get themselves onto lap 10. And yeah, 7/10 gap, so he's not going to be able to make a move just yet for that. Yeah, this definitely won't be how Owen was hoping the feature race would go, but it is definitely always difficult when you are coming through the back, which is what these feature races give you. They give you this variety, because some drivers, you know, whether they've got the pace in the sprint, might not be able to get themselves through the grid in the feature, and that's something that CMP and Tepos have both done very well, but Owen struggled with, and Claus with the 2-second penalty here, so he's not going to pursue that because he would want to be keeping on the back of Slimmy as much as he can, but it looks like he's also going to have to lose the place to Pyro, who's only 2.5 seconds back, and will be able to overtake him most likely when he serves his penalty. Though Pyro's got a penalty himself, Pyro won't be able to take advantage of that, but both of them will be losing out massively to their competition. From here, Tepos is still just making amazing lap times at the moment, in the low 29s at the moment. I guess this will be his last lap on the soft tyres, unless he's going to try and push this stint out for as long as he can, because his times at the moment are a bit faster than those on the mediums. So yeah, if we have a look at DDK, his 29.9 is his fastest on these mediums. CMP 29.6, but has only really been into the 29s a couple of times, mostly sitting in the low 130s. So Tepos' times on these softs at the moment, perhaps he should brave it out for another lap and see if the tyres go off, and then bring it in onto those mediums. 8 tenths down from his fastest lap, so that'd be a 29.3 before the final sector. Let's see what he does. Does he decide to pit now? Yeah, he's going to stay out on the track for one more, possibly two more. He's feeling confident on the tyres. 29.4, yeah, very, very decent lap time there for him. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that. CMP, his mediums are starting to go, which is not great. I think this might be some drivers could be going for a double stop here. Is DDK also struggling? Yeah, DDK is also struggling with that front left for the tyre wear. And so I think probably across the board, yeah, these mediums aren't lasting that much better than Tepos soft. So I wonder if a lot of people will be doing a two-stop strategy here today, because if you can't get them to last, then what's the point in being on them for much longer? I wonder if they'll hit around the same point as Tepos does, although Tepos will Tepos, how far out is Tepos going to try and make these tyres run? Obviously he's on his 12th lap now. Let's wait and see if he does decide to stay out for a 13th lap on the soft tyres. And this is another stint. There's not a lot of tread left. I think he's coming in. Yeah, there we go. Just coming over the line. We'll monitor that, see if he gets a pit lane penalty. But that now means that DDK and CMP will take over as the leading pair. And CMP has actually closed that gap up to DDK a little bit. So I wonder if CMP will be trying to get a move done on DDK before the pit window, as it were, opens for the medium tyre. But the medium tyre doesn't seem to be lasting that much longer than the soft. You know, if you look at CMP's tyre wear there, there's not a lot left on that. If we have a look at Owen here, Owen has got a lot better tyre wear than CMP if we compare the two directly. So perhaps Owen will be coming in a bit later, extending out this stint, so then he can fully use the soft tyre and make a very good run of it. Tepos, so he comes out in 8th, with Pyro not far behind, but obviously Tepos is on brand new mediums compared to Pyro's very well worn mediums. I wonder if Pyro will be coming in shortly. Obviously it won't be what he wants to do. They'd all quite like, you know, this is looking like it will be about a 25 lap race, and I'm sure if Pyro can't make it half distance on the medium, he's going to have a harder time doing it on the soft. DDK still leads from CMP. CMP now down to a 6/10 gap after that last lap. See, there we go, Ribber into the pits. Ribber's come into the pits, and that medium tyre isn't as well worn as the likes of CMP. CMP is now getting very low on petrol, so I wonder if he's going to have to come in at the end of this lap and do a very, very long stint on the soft tyres. Let's have a look. How's Owen doing now? Yeah, he's also low on fuel, but with much better tyre wear on his mediums. 15 seconds back from CMP. Do you remember earlier when we noted that Owen was 9 seconds back from CMP? Now it's up to 15 seconds. That is a massive, massive gap that Owen will struggle, really struggle to close up, unless he can extend this medium stint out further than CMP can, and then sees CMP struggle for tyre wear on the soft tyres. But I can't see that gap closing by 15 seconds in one stint. We'll have to wait and see, of course. But from what we saw in the sprint, CMP does have the handle on Owen on the soft tyres. Owen coming in, CMP also coming in DDK staying out on track for the time being. Excuse me. Obviously feeling he's got a little bit left on those medium tyres, as is Slimmy, Alex. They're both staying out. Is Pyro going to come in anytime soon? Pyro's coming in. Has Claus coming? Claus is not. So we've got Claus has done very well on these mediums. So if you look at the tread that he's still got on those tyres, why would he come in? He's got a lot left there, and he doesn't need to come in yet. Although he is running slightly low on fuel, but not low enough. There we go. So how are we coming out of the pit? So CMP has come out ahead of. Oh, sorry, DDK hasn't pit yet, my bad. Okay, but we've got Tipos in fourth with 28-second gap to the lead, and CMP 12 seconds further back, 14 seconds further back, sorry, excuse my maths. That's a big gap. That is a very big gap between Tipos and CMP, and Owen is a further 15 seconds still, but with a 3-second penalty, he made mistake crossing that pit lane line, and he's going to pay the price for that. Right, let's have a look at DDK as he goes for another lap on these mediums. Wow, he's definitely trying to make it last. Slimmy finally into the pit. So I think yeah, there we go. Alex will follow him through, but DDK definitely trying to get his money's worth out of these medium tyres. Tipos is now behind him by less than 17 seconds, and the pit stop is definitely longer than 17 seconds. So DDK will not be able to do much more. Gap between Tipos and CMP down to 12 seconds. I can't see CMP being able to close that. I'd like to be able to see it, but Tipos is opening fast lap on those medium tyres, 30.2. See what CMP does when he does his first once he comes around to do his first flyer after the pit stop, but I can't imagine it's going to be much better than a 30.2, sorry. It should be better, but not quite 1.5 seconds a lap better. And DDK's run out of petrol. DDK's out of fuel. Oh my god. Oh my god, he is going to kick himself. What has he done? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is not what he would have wanted at all. He is going to be very frustrated with himself for that as he tries to make it back. But that does mean we've now got Tipos in the lead with an 11-second back gap to CMP. So CMP is closing 28.9. That is the sort of pace I was expecting from CMP, if not perhaps slightly faster. I am expecting CMP to be fast in this stint, but it is a big gap, 11 seconds and 8 or 9 laps perhaps of racing to go. That's over a second a lap. I don't know, we'll have to find out. We will have to find out what CMP can do about that gap. If we look further back to Owen, very fast, gone purple. That's really strong, and that will serve him well. Will he be able to close up to Slimmy Cam? Let's look what Slimmy's times are like at the moment. He's just come out of pits, I believe, so we'll find out what his pace is like on the soft tyres. But I think Owen could be with a shot there, and Ribber's on very strong pace, 28.7. That is very good, and perhaps Owen is probably a lot more consistent, although Ribber's going 3 tenths faster, so that'd be a 28.4 if he gets this last sector hooked up properly. That's a very fast time. Perhaps Owen is a bit more consistent, but we're looking at a 10-second gap between Owen and River, so I don't think the podium is on the cards for Owen here. It is for Slimmy, who might be able to close that gap as he crosses the line. 28.3, very, very strong. That could serve him well. Okay, so River on a 28.6. Did I say 38? 38.3. I'm at 28.3 for River. Let's check in with our lead pair, see how that gap is doing. Down to 8.5. Tepos is in the low 130s, which is strong medium pace, but CMP for 27.7. That is phenomenally fast. That is definitely going. I think CMP's got this in the bag at this point, because the rate in which he's catching up Tepos is phenomenal. Really phenomenal. 27.7. 130.1, so 2.4 seconds last lap. CMP managed to. The only thing here is a question of time. Does CMP have enough time on these tyres when they're in the working window to be able to catch Tepos, or are his tyres going to go off? Though, as we saw in the sprint race, CMP can keep banging lap times on these tyres for a very, very long period of time. As we look further back down the field, so we've got Pyro down in 7th, ahead of DDK after his misdemeanor on the fuel, 10 seconds behind Pyro, so I don't think he's going to be able to catch that up. Claus in 9th, with Goose King still very far behind in 10th, about to be lapped actually by Tepos. So it's not a strong race for Moose. Claus in 9th, getting it all wrong. Where is that? Oh my gosh, that is not what he wanted at all before coming into the final sector. DDK in 8th. Got a 28.2, very, very fast time, 10 seconds behind Pyro, who's on a 29.3. So obviously DDK is a lot faster, less than 10 laps to go, 10 seconds a lap faster. Pyro might have 7th in the bag here, providing he doesn't make any mistakes. Alex just ahead of Pyro, by 3.5 seconds, but Owen 11 seconds up the road. Looking like a stagnant race for him as well, providing he nor anybody else in front makes a mistake. Owen still looking very, very good on low to mid 28, 128, and he is slowly closing that gap to Slimmy-ish, but Slimmy's on very good pace as well. So I think in this top 5 battle, the ones we need to watch out for is Tepos and CMP. It's on a 1:29.5. These are very, very good times for the medium tyre, which is phenomenal from Tepos. But CMP is just a lot faster, and that's might be a shame, because Tepos has run a very, very good race here in the Spec-Series, the first round of the Spec-Series in Lobby A, and has done his green team very proud. But I think CMP might have the measure of him today. Ripper again, very strong race, very strong times as well. 28.3 is very good. How are his tyres comparing to that of CMP? Very similar, so I don't think he should be too worried. Owen with a bit better tyre wear, however a bit further back obviously, and so I can't see him catching up to Slimmy as much as he did phenomenally in the first race. I don't think he will be moving from 5th place, which is obviously a very respectable place to come. And yeah, further down the order, it's looking very, very similar. Claus isn't going to make up 15 seconds on the very, very fast DDK after he made his error and he's going to kick himself because he was running a phenomenal race and perhaps would be, 27.6 is not too much slower than what CMP's done, less than a tenth, or no, just over a tenth between the two times. Although, as I say that, he just goes faster, so for 27.504. So, had he not run out of fuel, this would have been a very, very different race for DDK, and I think he'll kick himself for giving up on that win. Essentially, it was a win that he had at least a second place. I don't know who would have come out better, DDK or CMP. I think CMP would have undercut him had DDK had the fuel to go to the end. CMP now 2 seconds, less than 3 seconds to Tepos, 3 or 4 laps to go, with a 28.1 last lap compared to Tepos' 30.1. You have to say this looks very, very good for CMP, doesn't it? You can't see, unless CMP makes a mistake, which we haven't seen him do all race really, nor in the sprint. I think we're looking at a CMP win, which is showing because Tepos has driven a very, very strong race. And however, CMP's softs are beginning to go off now, and Tepos has still got a bit of life in those mediums. Rigger far too far back from CMP to be able to put any real pressure on him. I guess it's sort of what we should expect when we're crossing over so many tiers. But this is still, it's a very good show from River, who was T1 last season, whereas you've got CMP, who is T1 this season and came 6th in Tier 1 last season, which is obviously... Oh, he's on the inside, and Tepos has still got the inside for going over the crest at the top of the hill. CMP is holding it round the outside. He's going to have to go quite deep onto the brakes. Tepos still there, all over the back of CMP. Yeah, that's moved on. I don't think Tepos is going to be able to come back from this. He's got great tyre life, but not enough to be able to challenge CMP. DDK going fastest lap again. Perhaps all that Tepos can hold on for at this point in the race is that CMP's tyres might go, but we haven't got very many laps left, maybe 3 laps to go, and already pulled out a 1.5 second gap. I'm not sure there's anything Tepos can do here, barring obviously a mistake from CMP, and I need to stop saying that, otherwise I may end up giving commentators curse to him, which I don't want to do. So leave that be for the time being. River in a very comfortable position here. He's got a massive gap between himself. Ooh, Owen's up to 4th. What's happened to Slimmy? Slimmy made a mistake last lap. He's going to be miffed about that because he's driven a very good race up to this point. But that does mean Owen is now up into 4th place. As he does, he's in the high 29s now, so he's obviously struggling a little bit on his worn soft tyres, and I can't see him closing up to River. 10-second gap, barring any mistakes, of course, at this point. Slimmy in 5th, Alex in 6th, Pyro still in 7th. Maybe Alex can catch Slimmy, I doubt it. but you know, if Slimmy's made a mistake once, he might make it again. DDK still in 8th. Wow, he has closed that lap time, and he's going faster and faster still. 2 tenths up after sector 1, as there's a 2-second gap now to Aero, who's, you know, his fastest time is 28.3, which is a very, very respectable time, but DDK's travelling a second of a lap faster, which is really quite phenomenal pace, especially at this point in the race. Aero definitely struggling on those soft tyres now. Those are very, very worn out, and I'm sure he will welcome the... I thought he was off there, I think that's just a glitch. I'm sure he'll welcome the end of the race as and when it comes. And what's happened? We've had an unexpected error. That is not good. Is that going to kick me out of the room? Okay, let's see if we can get onto the end of this race. Sorry about that, folks that are watching the stream. Let's see what's happening on the track. If this will load back up. Here we go. Something's happening. Spec-Series going around the end of this race. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we've had quite a few people cross the line. So Temples has finished CMP 1, but we've got Slim. I'm not sure what's happened here. I don't know what's happened, but I am very confused. Okay, right, it's going back to normal now. So CMP in the lead. CMP in the lead. There we go. Tepos in second. Is River going to return to third? I assume he's still in third. There we go. Aaron has crossed the line in third place. Where's River? We've only got 10 in the chat. 8 in the chat. River lost out on his third place. Oh my god. Well, he's going to be gutted, and we've lost the Irish driver as well. Where he was quite solidly lost. DDK in 8th. I think DDK pits one last time for a set of brand new softs, although he won't get to use them to set a fastest lap. Although I think he should have fastest lap. He was on a 27.3. Yeah, and just he's doing some breathing to showboat. Sorry that we didn't get the end of the race there, but we do have the final corner for CMP. and Tepos coming through from chicane. Wow, that is a big gap between the pair at the end of the race. CMP's tyres absolutely gone. But all credit to Tepos. I'm gutted for him, but I think he did get the strategy wrong, and at the end of the day that's what's caused the downfall of his race. However, it did mean that he had the grip to make it through to the front. But so congratulations to CMP for that win. Tipos in second. I'm not sure what happened to Ribber, if he disconnected at the same time that myself and possibly Moose as well disconnected. And if he did, that's a massive shame. So we'll find out later on if Owen got to hold on to that win. But thank you very much for watching the live stream, and I will be back to do Lobby B tomorrow. Thanks very much. Bye bye.